My biggest style challenge is dressing for my apple shape, specifically for tops that don't emphasise my muffin top and yet don't look like maternity tops. Additionally, I'm petite with narrow shoulders and shorter arms. Regular sizing rarely works for me. And petites are getting harder and harder to find in the US. I think they're getting harder to find everywhere. Even petite tops seem to be getting longer and longer, and I'm not a fan of tunics. I would consider myself a classic dresser, and I'm print phobic except for perhaps stripes. So Barbara, this is something to think about. You are a unique human, and even petites are made for someone who is kind of 5'4" and under. So the thing is, if you are shorter than the 5'4", then you will find that everything is too long, even in petites. But there is often a lot more in petite sections in retailers online than there is you'll find in their stores. So that's something to be aware of. We often assume that their online selection is exactly what they have in stores, but quite often they actually have a larger range online. So it could be worth going online to see more options. Now, number 2. Alterations are not a sign of failure. There is nothing wrong with you if you need to get your clothes altered. You know, it's in fact really, really normal. So when they are making clothes, they're making the clothes on a block to get onto as many bodies as possible. Not to actually necessarily fit or flatter them. They're just to get them on, like you can physically get them on. So you have to understand that sometimes the clothes are, they need some alterations to fit your unique body. So there is nothing wrong with taking up hems, making the sleeves shorter. Maybe I'll buy 3/4 sleeves because then they may be full length on me if I've got shorter arms, or at least they won't be too long. It could be just little tricks like that, or it could just be accepting that, you need to shorten things up. Now, if you've got any sewing skills, even something simple like putting a little bit of ruching elastic up the end of the sleeve of a top that's too long can pull that up and make it, without having to do lots of hemming and things like that. So, and you can also even do that to the base of many tops as well, particularly knits. That can be a really easy thing to do. It does a curved hem, creates a curved hem, which is always more flattering than a horizontal hem on the top of, or the bottom of tops. But B, 2, it then makes that top a bit shorter, and it may mean that it's just gone from being a bit too long to the right length for you. Now, if you're an O shape, a couple of tips I always think that are really important to know about where to end your tops. So you want your tops to end just a smidge past the peak of your tummy. And this will, if you go too low, it ends up cupping your tummy and it emphasizes your tummy. Versus if we just go past the peak of your tummy, that actually helps to make your tummy look smaller. So have a little play in the mirror, pin things up, test different lengths, but you will find that I found this many, many times working with many, many clients of many, many body shapes, and plenty of tummies out there that, and I know for myself, I've got a tummy, that just past the peak of your tummy is the best point to end a top if you have a bit of a tummy. Now, as far as, you don't want too much volume. And this is the problem. Sometimes we go for too big a volume and too much volume when we've got a tummy we don't want anything to cling to muffin tops. So this is where we want to think about fabrics, that some fabrics are more clingy and are going to highlight them. So many knits are like that, versus if you go for, and I love things like silk. I find silk is it skims past, it's lightweight, but it doesn't cling. And so it can have that little bit of, looseness around your top, which is nice, but then you can still bring it in at the waist. And I've got a few tops, either that just skim past, but they don't have lots of volume and they're not tunics, or they have a kind of a soft band of ribbing around the bottom, and they skim past. There's enough volume in the top, but then because the soft band of ribbing at the bottom comes in and actually kind of it blouses the top in, but it sits lower than my tummy, so it actually works really well. So you could look for things like that. But yeah, so think about the different fabrics. Assume you're going to have alterations, and there's nothing wrong with having alterations. If you can't do them yourself, finding a good person who can do them for you. You will find when your clothes fit better, you feel so much better about what you're wearing and your style. So this is where it's such a good investment to get a good alteration on something that you do love. There's no point in ordering things you don't love, but I say don't buy things you don't love. So then when you do find something you love, it's worth spending that little bit of extra money on to make it work for you and your body. Now, there's no magical place I can magic up that'll help you find those things, but it is something to think about, is looking for those garments that do have the shape you want, in fabrics that aren't clinging, that, you know, in styles that you love. And this is where we have to get all those things together in the end. And for each of us, this is a unique and different journey that we all go on.